Yes. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. All right, we live. Let's see how I'm doing. Boy, I got a low signal tonight. My signal straight. Hey, Hiram. Man, I got a low signal tonight, guys. We'll see how we're doing. Gonna be a good show. Gonna wait a few people to get up on here. And yeah, I'm lagging right now, guys. Can you guys hear me? Am I lagging really bad? Can you hear me? Yeah, there's Gary. Hey Gary, am I lagging real bad? Okay, that says I'm back. All right, cool. Yeah. Good. Okay. We got some people on there now. I see it. There's William. Hey, man. Thanks, guys, because I was just having a lag problem. Hey, tonight we're going to go ahead and get started, man. I got another special guest, and you guys met him last week. Flew outside, man. He's also a beekeeper, and I was kind of interested in that. He messes with bees a lot, so I know nothing about him. And so hopefully it's going to be a good show tonight, us talking about bees and what we can do from that. So you guys met him last week. I want to jump him on here right now, but he does multiple things, guys. So let's see what we got to do. So everybody, welcome Blue right now. There he is.
What's up, everybody?
And there you go. Good. So, guys, you got to excuse me, man. I got this little hack I can't get rid of. It's just the weather, man.
You need honey.
Yeah, I know it. I do. That's a good thing, and that's what I was going to talk about. Like I said, I don't know nothing about them. My knowledge is a lot of the farmers that kept them around here. I was always intrigued with them, always messing with them. I told you before I can pet them. I understand the animal behavior very good, but I've seen in construction when we hit certain things under bridges, we'd have beehives under there. And there's a guy here in Greene County where I live. He's the master beekeeper. We call him out to remove the bees and stuff. It was kind of interesting to watch him, how he move the bees and stuff like that. But other than that, that's about all I know about beekeeping, man. Number one.
Shot of whiskey with honey. There you go.
There you go. And I got to back my comments. I didn't have on the screen.
Hello, everybody.
Hello. So what was the intrigue about bees for you, man? Why bees?
Well, it started when I was a little guy. I remember being at my grandparents' house, and their neighbor, he had bees. And I remember standing at the fence row just staring at the boxes like, I want to learn about that. And then in my sixth grade, the principal was a beekeeper, so he came in and taught the school about bees. And then finally, I don't know, 7 years ago, I finally was in a financial position where I'm like, hey, I can do this. So went out and bought 2 boxes or 2 complete hives, not the boxes, that's individual parts, but bought 2 complete hives and the jacket I needed and the smoker and got everything going.
What did you read about it first? I mean, did you?
Oh yeah. I got a book. I cannot find it. It's First Lessons in Beekeeping, and it's I don't know who the author is. I think it's Dannett, which is one of the big. It's not the guy that wrote it, but it's who publishes it. It's Keith Depelin or whatever. I don't know, but it was one of the first book I got, and I read it cover to cover, and yeah, that's probably one of the first books I would suggest to get.
To get started in it and just get an idea, because it's hard to sink your money into a hobby.
Oh
if you're not going to be interested in it for a long time.
Yeah.
This is another thing. It's the initial upfront cost is kind of pricey.
Yeah, like all my hobbies apparently.
Well, yeah, I mean all hobbies are, go buy a drag bike or a pulling truck. I'll show
Right.
you what it costs is.
Yeah.
You know, but if you're into it, you're into it. But you know, you pulled the trigger on the boxes.
Yep.
What kind? Okay, we know the hive. The hive is the white box you see on underneath the trees out in the field and stuff.
Yeah.
Like
That's called a Langstroth hive.
that. Okay.
What's up, Hooks?
Hey, Chris. And they so what's the anatomy of that box? I mean, I know they have chambers in them, but
Well, each box, there's 3 different sizes: small, medium, and large. Shallow, deep, and medium is what they're called. The deep's the big one, medium's obviously the middle one, and then the shallow is the small one. I just call them small, medium, and large, or a deep box. I actually don't run the small ones. I just run the medium and the large. And when I say run, that's what I use. So it's got those. You got the box, which is outside, and you have what's called an inner cover, which is a kind of a lid with a hole in the top of it. And then another lid goes on top of it with the big metal. That's usually what you see with the overhang on it.
yeah.
And then there's the bottom. And then each one of those boxes, depending on the size box you have, can have anywhere from 5 to 10 frames in it.
Huh. So and that's based on the size of the box.
Yeah.
You know, is and how what kind of prices we talking on today's money?
I looked on eBay today, and you can get a whole hive, which is actually it's 2 deeps, 2 mediums, the lid, the inner cover, the bottom, and all the frames with foundation for like $180.
That's not as bad as I thought it was.
No. And what has happened is your bigger companies, your bigger beekeeping supply companies, I think they're going to start losing out to the little guys that actually can make the stuff at home.
That's what.
And you can get it on eBay, so it's like, yeah.
Yeah, well, and can you buy used hives too? Can you find used hives?
Yeah. Do you want to buy a used hive? If you can, but you got to be able to make sure it doesn't have any disease in it.
Okay.
So you want to be
Well,
able to.
we'll get into that. I'm just throwing
Yeah.
questions at you.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
if you got a farmer, let's say he's getting old, he's got bees. Can you take that hive with you and move
Oh,
the
yeah.
whole thing?
Yeah, you can, if there's bees in it, yeah.
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 You know, that's what I meant by a used box to get started. If you
Yeah.
knew it was a cool box, but let's say you had an old timer that's done, can't handle them no more. You
Right.
can go over and purchase his boxes and move the whole hive to your.
Yeah, you could do that.
Okay, cool. Just something I know. Hiram up there says, I know folks that travel all over the world to get some honey shipped to them, and they eat the honey for 2 weeks before they travel. It gives them strong immunity to it. Good idea.
Yeah. So they get it from the place they're going and then travel there?
Yeah, he must,
Huh.
I know TW be on there. There's Faith A. Amanda, hello. How many bees does that hold? William said. I know
we guess at 20,000.
20,000.
Yeah.
Is that a big hive, medium hive?
That's a decent size. Yeah, that's a pretty decent size hive. And if they get too big, they'll actually move out. Half of them will move out.
Yeah, because I had a swarm in my front pine tree, and I called the guy.
Yeah.
They were moving, and he come out and just shook them down. And
Yep.
Found the queen, took her.
I've done that.
My father-in-law, I forgot about that. He had a shed out here. The whole wall of the shed was the hive.
Oh,
They,
wow.
they tore the whole wall. That wall was 8 feet tall, probably 10 or 12 feet long, and every stud in there was part of the hive.
So they've been there for a while.
Yeah, and it was rotten at the bottom, where if you come in and out.
Yeah.
But that was amazing. I remember that now. And they come out and they scraped all the hive out and got rid of the bees, but you can't kill the bee. I know I've read stories that the bees are on a decline because we're still not 100% sure what's wrong with them.
Right.
Is it pesticides? Is it, disease? Is it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I can't remember what it's called, but it's, the hive it'll be abandoned or something.
Well, how important is the bee for farmers and for us? I mean,
well, I've heard that 1 in 3 bites is because of a bee that you take.
1 in 3 bites that you
1 in
ingest
3 bites is,
is
considered,
because of the bee.
yeah.
It's amazing, ain't it?
Yeah, there's a list of. I mean, most of your vegetables, if you don't have bees, you're not going to have. You're not going to have the, pollination.
Right. And I love the bees, and I've got white clover
Yeah.
everywhere in my driveway. Well,
Yep.
I cut my grass 4.5 inches high, so the white clover is usually not disturbed.
Yeah.
Anytime in the summertime, I go out there, there's bees out there. Anytime, so it's just interesting, to see them, and I know how much work they do.
Yeah. And I know there's hives here that actually ship their hot bees out to California so you can have almonds.
I kind of heard that
So that's they're important to pollination. I heard if they die off, human race has probably got 4 years of living left.
That's amazing, ain't it?
Yeah, don't know if it's true, but hopefully we never have to find out.
Right, and a lot of this is because a lot of the research, a lot of the practices we do come from the 2-box guys or the 4-box guys, not the commercial growers.
No,
you know what I'm saying? We found techniques. Anytime you get the average person into it, we come up with better ideas, better hives, better, production methods, better safe ways to keep the bees, TW, I'm getting behind on the questions. He said, morning from Australia, sirs. I keep the native bee boxes and split those. They're only about 1 foot by 1 foot. That's a small box, ain't it?
Yeah.
That's kind of different. I'm sure TW's going to have some questions for you on this because.
Well, just so you know, there's a saying when it comes to beekeepers. You ask 5 beekeepers one question, you're going to get 6 different answers. So,
is that sort of like the bushcraft world, man?
Yeah.
What's the best knife? You want to start that argument?
The one in the one that you have.
The one in your pocket, man.
I did a video on that. Best rival knife.
Yeah, that's cool. It's Jody said it's actually one of the cheapest agricultural products you can buy.
She's actually a beekeeping buddy of mine.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Good, because you guys got to help me through this one. I'm lost, guys.
She actually runs 5-frame boxes.
Now explain that to me. What's 5-frame? What do you mean?
Okay, so the boxes I run will have 10 frames in a row in each box. She runs just 5 because it's smaller and lighter.
Okay.
Because some of the boxes I'll pick up, they could probably weigh 60 pounds.
Is that loaded full of honey, or is that just
loaded full of honey? Because it's got the honey in it, the wax, the bees. Because bees are heavy. When you buy bees for your thing, you buy them by the pound. It's usually a 3-pound package.
No, I didn't know that. And they come live to you.
They come live, and so so I'm picking these boxes up, and she said I can't, because she was running 8-frame to begin with, and went over to the 5 frames because they're just easier to handle.
I know we're going to get into this pretty quick. I'm trying to keep up, and we've got a lot of questions coming on. Our native bees are smaller than a housefly, so we get something in the box. I've never even seen that.
No,
I mean, that's smaller than a housefly, man. Come on. Amanda asked this, and I know this answer. How long does the honey last? And is it good for you? Good for you.
Yes. And what is it good for?
Yeah, what is it good for?
How long does it last? Forever, if stored properly.
That's one of our nature's best ways. I mean, honey will last forever if it's stored properly.
Yeah, if it's real honey.
Yeah, it's got to be a real honey. I know a lot of Chinese. I did watch a report on Chinese selling synthetic honey in the U.S. You got to watch what you buy.
Yeah,
because
if you're not buying it from a local beekeeper, it's probably not real honey.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean,
yeah,
it's wait a minute, Chris. Man, they're jumping fast on you guys. Hold tight, man. If I don't get to you, ask it again. After you purchase a complete hive, do I have to have a special yard or environment for the bees to produce, or will they find what they need to produce?
You just want to make sure you don't spray chemicals in your yard. Chemicals are bad, period. But yeah, you can't treat for weeds. You can't spray pesticides. But you don't need a special area as long as your neighborhood allows it. I don't live in a neighborhood; I live in the country. So, when I
was growing up, all the farmers had them.
Yeah.
There wasn't a field out there that didn't have a set of hives in there. There's times I'd see 20 hives underneath trees. They kept them under trees to keep them cool in the summer. Do you need that? Do you need the trees? Is it
Not necessarily. I mean, if it gets hot, they'll come out of the hive and cool themselves off. I have mine in full sunlight because what you want to do is actually have them where the sun hits them as soon as the sun is up, hits the box and starts heating up that entrance, because then they'll get active and get out and start going collecting pollen for honey. But then you also want to have some shade, so if it gets too hot,
yeah, like the evening shade?
yeah,
You know, I mean, my yard goes east and west, and I've got a creek with trees in it. I
yep,
can move them out. You know, in the morning it would hit directly on the box, but
yeah,
come 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, the shade would get on the hives. Would that
yeah,
be okay?
yeah. I mean, you want to have as much daylight as they would know it as possible, because
Okay.
you want them out as much as possible if you're trying to do honey.
Yeah, yeah, makes
So
sense. I just I got to ask these questions, man, because I don't know.
yeah,
I
let's
just
do it.
remember seemed like they were always in the corner of the field in the tree line. You know,
That's probably just the place they could put them.
yeah, to get out of the
I
way.
mean, it could be shaded. I've had some in shade.
Seemed to be
It's
okay.
all personal preference.
Okay, I didn't know if you could overheat it. Being in that box and
Yeah, you can, but the bees will take care of themselves.
oh, okay, so they know what they're doing.
Yeah, they don't need us. We need them.
Yeah, we're just stealing off of them. We invade them.
Well, there's another saying that says everything steals from the honeybee, including the honeybee.
Well, that's true, ain't it? They do.
Yeah, they'll steal from each other.
Uh, like I said, guys, if I don't get your question, man, answer it again, guys, because they're going fast for me. Uh, I use a 2 level hive, then cut it in half and put full type on empty boxes and vice versa. So now I've got 3 tiers high, and they can weigh up to 10 kilograms, which is, I don't know if that is converted, but
I don't even understand what he's saying. But see, that's the difference is we have our language of
yeah, and
talking
that's
about
it.
bees.
Well, and they've got different styles, different style bees,
Yeah,
and so I'm sure he's in Australia. I don't know his
yeah,
weather climate and stuff like that. It's
yeah. They
going
probably
to
wouldn't
be.
survive here. So
Yeah, I know. It's he's also talking about I'm in suburbia. There's 5 hives that need splitting. Got another 12 hives at friends' places. He likes his beekeeping and splitting
there
them.
you go.
You guys can wish see that. Full, uh, my highest full is $1,000 Aussie dollars. Man, it's crazy. Uh,
Information's dumping. Look at that.
yeah, I know, man. It's bee pollen's are beautiful. My garden does fantastic because of bees.
Yep.
Yeah, you can heat up crystallize the honey. I
Yeah.
actually put honey out and put a towel, and it just let it crystallize on its own. And
Yeah.
it makes it great for the survival world because I use that for my teas in the morning, the granulated. I don't have to use a spoon and that mess when I'm out camping. I can just put granulated honey in there, and it's a convenience thing for me.
I get it. And you're not losing any of your medicinal benefit of it. Just don't heat it up above 95 degrees because it'll start killing the enzymes and stuff that live in it that make it good. The best way I tell people to heat it up, anything goes. Ask that how do you uncrystallize it?
Yeah,
Is kind of like heating a baby bottle up in water. So just put the bottle in the water and heat it up slowly. It'll
and it'll go right back to
it'll,
honey. Just
it'll
fine.
go back to the liquid form.
Yeah. I mean, if you see me out camping again, I got a bottle all crystallized honey. It
Yeah,
stores in my pack. I forget about it, but in the mornings you want a little bit with your tea. I've got it. And like I said, the convenience is because honey's sticky, man. It can be a
oh yeah, yeah.
you know what I'm saying? It's
Try
so I mean,
harvesting in it.
yeah, I know you probably wear it everywhere, man. What uh, what kind of yield do you get out of? Let's stay with your setup, your 2 boxes. In the summer, what do you pick it just one time in the summer? Do you
I,
harvest?
I try to do a spring harvest, which will be kind of the leftover stuff from their winter feed, and then I try to do a fall harvest, which I've still got to do this year. I actually was able before we went to the Ohio Central Ohio Bushcraft Gathering. We only were able to get 2 frames out. That's a long story, and I got 16 pounds out of those
16
So
pounds of honey.
yeah, 16 pounds of honey.
Wow.
So, and that was out of 2 frames, and there would have been 10 to harvest. So,
So, and it'll vary year to year, correct?
oh
I
yeah,
mean,
and
it's not.
it depends on the bees, not the type of bees, but the bees' personality. So, like each, yeah, the
Yeah,
hive.
that makes sense to me, man. I mean,
Okay, so
I know it's kind of crazy,
well,
man.
I don't want to be sexist, but all the bees are 99% female, and they all have the personality of the queen. So they're all genetically got her personality. So if she's an aggressive female, an aggressive queen, the hive will be aggressive. I've got hives that I can go out, pull the lid off, not wearing my bee suit, and they won't bother me. And I got other hives, I don't even walk near them without a bee suit because they're just
Really,
aggressive. Yeah.
that big a difference in personality trait,
Oh yeah.
and that's amazing. I never knew that because I've been around hives. I mean, I've walked by them, I've touched them.
Right.
They never bothered me, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
You get
mean,
some, and they're just like, stay away from my house, and then some of them are like, hey, how you doing?
no, it's amazing.
And
I didn't
yes,
know that.
like Hammerhound said, the males get kicked out in the winter, and then they're forced to die.
Really,
Yeah.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah. There's not too many. There's probably what 15 to 30 males in a hive
Now, why is that?
because they serve no purpose other than mating with a
With the
queen.
queen,
Yeah.
that's it.
Hopefully not their queen because that's their mom.
Oh,
But
they'll move out and find another
yeah,
hive.
they'll go. Yeah, and then it's not good for them because after they mate, it breaks off and stays in the queen, and they die.
Oh, okay. It's kind of see. I didn't know all this stuff, man. I
Yeah.
hate to get into it, but it's something we need to discuss
Yeah.
about. You know,
So
it's interesting,
it's good to learn. You man,
and
you learn stuff being a beekeeper, and you start buying books, and anything that's got a book to do with beekeeping. I've seen it. I've bought it.
yeah, and that's what makes you good at it. You
Yeah.
know, it's all about information. I mean, you want to talk trapping, let's get it on. But I don't know enough about bees, and
Right.
but the behavior of bees, I didn't understand that
Yeah.
they could be a mean hive, or because I've been out in the woods and come a hive naturally, and they seem like they're always aggressive.
Yeah.
You know, you can't even touch the tree they're in. You know, and but the hives that I've ever seen, I've walked by them, never been afraid of them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Most of the time, they don't want. They won't. They'll just leave you alone because they just want to do their thing. But every
And
once in a while, you get one that's like wants to be a stinker and be like, "Hey, I'm gonna." I call it booping because they'll actually fly at you and hit you.
before they sting you,
Yeah.
so it's amazing. uh, okay, Hammerhouse said an Aussie dollar is 25 cents American last check, maybe less now.
Oh
It's
wow.
kind of so we've got a difference there. I'm trying to keep up. Be careful, folks. It's addicting. I was reading Jody's. Oh, I'm trying to catch up, guys. That's a pretty good comment.
Yeah.
That's what TDW Bushcraft said. That's what I call him TW, but he said the bees are stingless, man. That's amazing. I never even heard of nothing like that. He mentioned
Wow.
that last week.
Yeah, I seen that and I was like, wow. But see, they probably won't survive in my environment.
Yeah, I don't. I wouldn't think that. I don't know
No.
what kind of defense mechanism they
I
have.
mean, they might, but just the winter alone. Because I got one hive, it may be Africanized. The African killer bee.
Yeah,
It might be Africanized, and if it is, it'll die over winter because they can't withstand the
yeah.
cold.
I knew that the African bees can't live up here in this climate.
Yeah.
They'll kill them off.
Yeah.
And but they can crossbreed like that.
Oh yeah.
Like if you got a hive down south, could they be actually with them killer bees?
Yeah.
And then, does that make them? I'm sure that makes them a lot more aggressive.
Oh yeah. I mean, they get like most bees will last or live 6 weeks. That's their lifespan.
Really?
Yeah, the queen can live up to 5 years unless something else happens to her.
But
So
the average lifespan of the bees, say
Yeah.
it again.
it's 6 weeks.
So they're constantly having babies.
Oh yeah, the queen can lay anywhere from 2 to 3 or 4,000 a day.
A day.
Yeah. And another fun fact, she gets to pick if it's a fertilized egg or an unfertilized egg.
Now, what would cause her to to flip flop like that?
Fertilized eggs are female, unfertilized eggs are male.
Ah,
And she gets to choose. So she gets to choose which egg she lays.
huh.
It's like,
That's amazing. Yeah. And
and
she's only,
she only mates one time.
but she keeps enough in her. I hate to go into that round.
Yeah, right.
But she keeps enough in her for how many did you say a day?
2 to 5 or 2 to 3,000, 4,000, something like
A
that.
day,
Yeah.
all summer.
Yeah.
Now they quit in the wintertime.
Yeah. 4 up to possibly 5 years.
Gee, many Christmas.
Unless I'm wrong about the mating part, but
yeah, that's just it's crazy. I never knew this much about bees.
yeah,
Man.
it's
You know.
once you hear that, you're like, they get a pick whether they want to have a boy or a girl.
Well, and wouldn't that give her the adjustment if she's getting too many males?
Yeah.
You got too many males burnt,
Yeah.
born, you got a problem in that hive.
Yeah.
You need the females in the hive, right?
Which can also tell you if you got a lot of males, that means you have a laying worker bee, which is the female who can because the female bees are the ones that you see and collect honey and all that.
Yeah.
They can lay eggs. If they're laying eggs, that means you don't have a queen.
Really?
And they're trying to make up for that. And they're unfertilized, so you start having an influx of what is called a drone bee. A drone bee is the male bee.
Okay.
There's 3 types of bees in the hive: a queen, a worker, and then a drone.
Yeah, we're jumping into this pretty deep right off the bat.
Oh yeah,
it's just interesting.
You're probably still trying to wrap your head around the point that she can pick out if she wants to have a
baby bee. I never thought about that, dude. I never even thought of if it was male or female. I thought they'd just all be mixed, and I knew there was one queen in there, but that was it.
Yep.
Let me catch up here, man. Man, of course, my phone's gonna blow up on me. Yeah. Let me see here. Hammerhound. Let's see what he says. My theory why we lack bees, many lawnmowers, people mowing out country. I just moved on it. Weeds, flowers, and no flowers. And guys, I got a lot of farmers here. We spray all the time. They spray fence rows with Roundup and stuff like that.
Yeah, that doesn't help.
No. And see, he's doing my fence row, so it would be hard for me to have bees unless I was away from it. Yeah. But yet they spray the farmer, they spray the fields early spring. You know what I'm saying? Which is, if the wind's right, I try to leave the house when they're spraying, to be honest with you.
Right. And I live in the middle of fields. Like I got fields all around me.
Yeah.
And I don't think they spray pesticides. So.
Well, they do spray, like for the Roundup bees. A lot of times they're spraying fertilizer. They just did the fields with granulated fertilizer, just a week ago. My brother said, how do you get a new queen if you don't have a queen?
Okay, there's several ways. One, you can order a queen from somebody that breeds them. I don't breed it because you're looking into artificial insemination, and it's just a lot of stuff that we don't want to go into. So you can order one. I've seen them go for $30 all the way up to, I don't know, $70 for a queen.
Really, for one bee?
Yeah, a mated queen. What I like to do is I try to keep multiple hives. And then again, it's another good reason why I have a hive at my parents' house. I have like 6 hives at my house. And then my friend Jody, she has hives. So if I end up with a hiveless, queenless hive, I can go into another hive and look for a queen cell. Kind of looks like a peanut hanging on the end of if there's that, I can shake the bees off that and actually put that in my hive. So that's one way of doing it, because as long as it's got open brood, they'll think there's a queen and they'll make that queen grow, and then you end up with a queen.
That's amazing.
So
man.
Hopefully that was simplified where you could understand it. But yeah, you can either order one or transfer a queen cell or open brood to another hive. And yeah,
amazing. Jody says, bring on the stingless bees.
Right.
Yeah, that'd make it easy.
Right.
TW says, one of the species I call shy bees. They watch for things before they fly out. Then at night they deal with the entrance, seal the entrance with wax. And first thing in the morning, then they eat their way that off. And
Wow.
off to go to work. They seal the hive off. I'm trying to
Wow.
read it and think about it. That's pretty interesting,
Yeah,
man.
that's new to me too.
Yeah, you're gonna have to get TW on this show one day, man.
There you go.
Show us some pictures of your
Australian
stuff.
beekeeping. Yeah,
There you go. And
that's
is
cool.
let me ask you this question up front before we get. Oh, and I know, is it worth keeping bees for the work, the the initial cost, the work involved, and we'll get into that work involved here in a minute, and the equipment you need. But I know the benefits, the long term survival food of it.
Yeah,
I know the health benefits. I know I eat a lot of local honey because it's got the pollen in around me. I don't have any hay fever, but I
yeah.
tell everybody eat local honey, to build up your immune system for these people get hay fever and all this other stuff. Uh, so is it that much work, and is it worth it? Is the money come back to recover? Uh,
For me,
yeah,
yeah, I probably make about $1,200 a year on honey,
that's pretty good.
but I'm not actually trying.
Right.
I just sell it at my wife's hair salon and at a farmer's market. But yeah, and I've been doing it for 6 years, and I haven't bought. Once I bought all my boxes or made them, I haven't paid. I haven't bought anything since, and I haven't even bought bees in. Let's see, I bought them my second year, so I haven't bought bees in 5 or 6 years.
So
I actually had all my bees die during the winter, and
really,
I left the box out, and local bees actually moved in.
huh? Now, what happened to them? Was that your fault? Was it?
Um, Honestly, I went through a divorce and didn't care anymore for a while because stuff happens, and then
Yeah.
I just had the box out there for a while, and because I didn't clean it up, and bees moved in, and then I was like, okay, well I've got bees now, so I'm gonna take care of them, and then I just started splitting my hives or swarm. They get a swarm, and then that's. So I had like the more natural. They were wild bees too, because you could tell by the size. But yeah, then I built up to 6 hives because of just splitting hives. So once
Right.
you buy your initial setup, and even if you could find, you don't even have to buy bees. If you just get a hold of your local beekeeping association, I'm sure, and get yourself put on the list of swarm recovery. Like your guy, call
Yeah.
him to come get this freebies. That's what we call them.
And so, because he needs to transport that hive somewhere,
Yeah.
and if you got a hive ready for him to go,
Yep.
he know you're on the list. Say, hey man, I'm coming over. I got a hive.
Yeah.
So you got free right there.
Yeah.
You
You can
got
get
free
freebies
queen.
easy.
Yeah, it's amazing, man. That's
So, but
uh but you got a pretty decent profit margin
oh yeah.
off. But let's say you're going to recover your hives. Let's say you're going to get the honey out of hives.
Okay.
What does that amount to? Tell me the tools first of all that you're going
Um,
to need to do this.
you need maybe a smoker. It's up to you. Sometimes I don't use a smoker. You know what that is? It's the little
Yeah,
thing you pump and it blows out smoke and it confuses the bees. And you need a hive tool. A hive tool looks like a pry bar. I prefer a. Let me see. I have a picture of it somewhere. Let me go ahead and share this if I can do that. I'm gonna share a picture of my hive tools, or not mine, but the ones that I found. Is this it? Are we up?
yeah.
Okay.
There we
So
go. Cool.
these are. I'm getting feedback. Okay, the bottom one, which would be on the bottom left side, that's your common looking hive tool. It looks like a small pry bar, which is actually what it is. So if you look at the the left side of it, the top, there's a lip where you can pull up your boxes, like pull your frames out,
Yeah.
and then there's a scraper where you can scrape off wax and propolis and all that stuff. I prefer the one in the middle because it has that little hook at the top, and you can actually pry your frames out easier. So that and a smoker is usually all you need, and then just somewhere to put your frames, which I just use a big tote as long as the frames fit in there. But
But you're saying you also got a hooded,
oh
uh,
yeah,
the hood and the gloves.
the suit, yeah.
And what does the hood and the stuff like that kind of run roughly?
You can get it as cheap as $20 to several $100 depending on the style. But
And
just remember, you get what you paid for. So go between the $50 and $100 range.
yeah, get
So
you a good hood that's
yeah,
quality. It's especially if you're like me, the bees don't bother me. I don't even mind being stung. It's
right.
kind of crazy, but just something like that. Something gives us a ballpark figure what we're
Yeah,
talking to get in if somebody's interested in getting into it.
yeah. Getting stung in the face is horrible. So
Yeah, you don't be stung. I've been stung in the crease of the eyeball, man.
oh
That'll
yeah,
light you up, man.
yep.
But yeah, it wouldn't be good
So
fun.
yeah, you're just you. It's like anything else. You can spend as much as you want or as little as you want. But just remember, when it comes to the bee suit and the gloves, you probably get what you pay for.
Yeah. Okay, and now you take them from the tote.
Okay.
Okay, you fried them out because they're all stuck in there. They're
Yep.
sticky and
Oh, you need a bee brush too. You got to brush all the bees off because you don't want to take the bees in your house.
yeah. So it's like what, like a paintbrush, basically, or
Yeah, it's kind of like a I call it a fox brush. Like a work brush, and it's
oh, okay,
long, and it's the hairs on it are like really soft. So you just gently brush the bees off the frame, and then stick it in there and hope they don't get in there because they go after the honey. They're like, hey, we got to get that.
yeah, because they know you're stealing it. They're going to get
Yeah.
it.
Yep.
And so, and I see that you don't want to damage the bees,
No, and it happens. You're going to kill bees in the process, and you try not to.
Yeah, because they do get stuck in the honey and stuff like
Yep.
that too.
Or if you put a box back on, you hear crunchy noises. It's like, yeah, you didn't get out of the way. So
yeah. So okay, now I got it in the tote.
okay.
Now I've got the bees off of it. Now we're going to go what in the shed or whatever.
Yeah, go wherever you're going to harvest your honey. There's several ways that this can go. I actually just put a video out on it's called a crush and strain method. This is for the person that doesn't have the extractor, and this is one of the cheapest ways to get into it. You actually you can cut the comb off and get cheesecloth or a strainer top, and you have like a 5-gallon bucket. You squeeze it with your hands, and that'll strain the honey, and then drop the wax in there, and it'll all drain out that way. So that's like the most inexpensive way to do it. Or you buy an extractor, or even make an extractor, which you have to break the surface of the wax where it's called capped. They cap it. It's capped wax, so the honey's capped. It's where it's sealed, where it won't come out. You have to break that cap either with I have like a rake. It's like a hair pick, or you can get one of those knives, which I don't have because they're like $100. It's expensive. And you just put it in the extractor and you spin it, and it just throws it to the side of the extractor and runs out. So
yeah, I've actually seen that on the show. It was like a stainless steel thing. This guy spun real fast, and
yeah,
it's a centrifuge.
yeah,
It
yeah.
goes all out.
I've got a 2-frame one, and you can get 1 frame or go all the way up to, I don't know, 12 frames,
Man,
and hook it to a motor. But yeah,
yeah,
if I'm processing 20 frames, I'm not going to do. There's no point in me doing it. And plus, I don't hardly ever do that anyways. My parents do that for me.
really.
Yeah.
Lucky dog. But that's but then what's it do on the extractor? Then it runs down, and then
Yep. Yeah, it runs through a spout. They're called honey spouts. They're a lot bigger than, because you think spout, you're probably thinking like your outside water. But this is like almost a 1.5-inch hole, and you just open it up and it will drain. Like I said, you drain it into a strainer, into a honey bucket, which also has a spout on it. So the strainer, they have them in plastic and metal, or you can use cheesecloth. Cheesecloth gets messy and sticks together.
Oh, I bet it does. Yeah.
Yeah, the strainer just fits inside the 5-gallon bucket perfectly, and over time, a couple of days, it'll drain into the bucket, and you just jar it up from there.
Now you're ready to jar. Your jar's got to be good and clean.
Yeah.
And but it doesn't. You're not canning it. You're not doing that. You're putting it in a jar, putting a lid on.
Yeah, it's right
Ready
here.
to go. Yeah, it's amazing.
And that's light too. I had some darker this year, so.
So the honey will vary in color. Like
Yep.
And what's that do to what they're feeding on, or where they're getting the pollen from, or?
Yeah, It depends on what the flavor is affected by what they're getting, and the color is affected by what they're getting, like where they're getting it from.
Yeah, and I heard that even the flavor of the honey can actually be adjusted by if they have some of these farmers have them right over like a strawberry field or
Yeah.
something like that, and they can
Yep.
adjust the flavor of the honey.
Yeah, I know. I've met people that are like, we like buckwheat honey, and I'm like, I've seen that stuff. It looks like sewer water. It's like dark brown, and I've tasted it,
Yeah,
and it's like, ugh, I don't like it. Mine's just a wildflower, mostly probably clover.
that's probably yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I mean, TW said he said he got a free hive that was in a paddock. They moved in an old refrigerator and just tapped it up and moved the fridge to home. That's pretty good, man. Keep it simple, man.
You could have just kept the refrigerator as the hive.
Yeah, I mean, and that's amazing. He also says he's allergic to bees, so that's why I keep the stingless. That makes sense there. My wife's allergic to bees. Hammerhouse said, "What about the new flow hive system?" I ain't got a clue what he's talking about.
Okay, so the flow hive was invented by some guys that able to harvest honey they call it harvest honey on tap. You pretty much have this hive, and you put a like a straw in it, and then you turn keys, and it drains the honey out of the frame. You don't have to open up the hive. So first off, great invention. It was an awesome invention. The problem is if you don't check your hives on a regular basis, or the fact that you are destroying the inside of their, once it closes, is it still capped? I'm not a fan of it. I think it's going to create lazy beekeepers. So it's a great idea, but I don't think because you have to do maintenance on the beehive, and I just think it's possibly going to start some Hampton.
Did you just read that?
But we kind of taste like dirt. See, I knew it wasn't. I knew it was trash. But yeah, I'm not a fan of the flow hive. I think again, it's a great invention, but I think they're going to create lazy beekeepers because everything I've seen is all you have to do is put the bees in, and then you wait for honey.
And so the honey just naturally running down.
Yeah, the way that like, say this is the honeycomb, and they have it where when you twist it, it goes like this. So it breaks the cap off, and then all the honey drains down to the bottom. So it's like, yeah, you got honey on tap, but how do you know if you got a queen? How do you know if you don't have any disease? How do you know you don't have varroa mites? How do you know you don't have, all these problems that could come?
So basically, when you're pulling honey, you're also doing an inspection, basically.
Yeah, I want to make sure I've got eggs. So I want to, the eggs. You can't, if they're they look like little grains of rice, and if they're fresh, they'll stand up. They'll be standing up inside the comb. So I don't have a way to explain it.
Well, that makes sense. I see.
Yeah, just imagine having the comb, and then you got an egg where it's freshly laid, where it's standing up. So I know that egg's been there for 3 days, and it lays down after 3 days. So I'm like, okay, so now I know I've got a queen. I know she's laying. I know she's laying fresh. If you have multiple eggs in the same comb, that means you have a laying worker. That means you don't have a queen. So the idea of the flow hive, like I said, it's a great idea, but there's stuff that has to be done that I don't think they're advertising, but I haven't done any research.
Now, do you inspect your hives like throughout the summer? Just look at them, or?
I try to, but if you get busy, but every once in a while, go out there and pop one and just make sure there's plenty of bees in there. So if they're active, you can usually tell on the outside. Like if there's like a few coming out, because I got one hive, I don't think it's doing real well, but it was a split, and I think they split again, and some of them stayed behind.
Oh,
so
TW said he did keep a fridge once a year. I take the eggs out and start a new hive with it. Makes him $500 a year.
There you go.
That's the way to do it, man. I mean, when we talk about the bushcraft stuff and the survival stuff, that's kind of what these shows are about. That's passive income, dude.
Yeah.
It's like me and trapping. Like I said, okay, now we've got a problem with the critter getting in your bees.
Yep.
You call me, I get the critter, but now I get to share the bee or the honey, in payment. So that's what we're going back to the survival bushcraft world is that, we all work together. You're running hives, but I'm still the trapper.
Yeah.
But I need the honey. But you got critters, you got problems,
Because I haven't seen it personally, but I've seen pictures where a skunk will go up and lay underneath the hive on its back and reach up and grab bees and eat the bees.
Heck yeah, man. He don't care.
No.
And that's when you call me, how do I get this skunk out?
Yeah, without getting sprayed.
Yeah. And there's ways to do that. I'm good at that, but I don't know nothing about bees. Native bees won't use racks. They will fill the extra box with the wax and honey, but keep the middle for laying eggs. Kind of interesting, man.
So he's saying that okay. Yeah, because my bees that I use usually lay the honey on the or they lay eggs. The brood is the bottom boxes, and then the honey is usually the top boxes.
So they're doing all their babies down low.
Yep.
And the honey production's up top.
Yep.
Now, can you take too much honey out of the hive in the wintertime?
Oh yeah. You want to leave 40 to 50 pounds of honey for them through the year.
So in relationship, what did you say? You had a 10 rack beehive. How many racks can you take out of that box?
I usually have 30 in there that I can use to harvest, and I leave 10 of the 30 in there for the bees.
Okay.
And then I
percentage on the size of the hive, or
yeah. And I also supplement feed them with sugar water. I do 1 part water, 1 part sugar, cook it on the stove, heat it up, melt the sugar, and we'll supplement feed them during the fall.
Oh, to give them a little boost.
Yeah, and I do it in spring too.
Is that after the harvest? You
actually it's before the harvest, but I when the winter hits, I start to supplement just in case they didn't get it. There's not enough in there or something,
Okay.
So, but that's a good reason why goldenrod, the plant goldenrod, that's a good fall flower for bees.
Man, I got how much you need of it.
Right. Which is funny because it came out real early this year.
Yeah.
Like usually we're seeing it now, but it was like super early.
Well, we had a ton of water this year.
Yeah.
Up here, we had a ton of water.
Yeah.
But that's what I was asking, because, if you took all the honey, they live off the honey, correct?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's their food.
That's their food. Yeah. So you have to leave at least 50 pounds.
50 pounds on one box, one of your big boxes?
One frame, yeah.
Okay.
Or one hive.
Man.
A fun fact about goldenrod honey, I think it smells like wet dog. Yeah.
So my honey around here smell like wet dog because I got goldenrod everywhere.
Yeah, probably. That's why you just wait let them have that for the winter and then get your fresh when spring comes around.
Well, and goldenrod's really good for you. If you
yeah.
Goldenrod, got some good medicinal reasons to have goldenrod around. Let's see. The Aboriginal tribes used to catch a native bee and tie the part of the feather on one, then follow them through the bush and hives. Those were mine the size. Mine at that size difference. If I read that right. He's talking about tying that feather on there.
Yeah.
Actually, how I found wild hives is I put sugar water out for them, and you let them gorge yourself. They can't fly fast. You can walk and watch the bee. If you pay attention, he'll go right back to the hive. Huh. I've done that. I've actually found them in the woods that way. Yeah, that's how you find the real bees. I didn't tell you everything I know, but you didn't know that, did you?
I've watched bees gorge themselves.
Yeah.
Like when you're harvesting honey, if something breaks, like, the honey starts to drain out, and they want to save that because it's their food, like, it sounds stupid, but if your house catches on fire, it's like, okay, what do I need to survive? I'm going to grab everything I can to survive.
Right.
So they're like, we need our food.
And is it true that when you eat honey, you're actually eating, they regurgitate the honey, don't they?
Yeah, they have a special stomach that makes the honey.
Ain't that amazing? I mean, everybody says, well, you're eating puke.
Bee vomit, yeah.
Bee vomit, yeah. But it's hammerhound is one or two. Moved on. Is one or two hives acceptable for a family, and will it be able to renew the colonies? So
Yeah, one or two would be fine if you wanted to do it, for yourself. If you don't want to make the money, if you want to keep, yeah, you would be able to renew. Or the thing with hives is the hives are going to, if they get too big, if you don't have enough room for them, they're going to do what we call a split or a swarm. Split is okay. Split it is what we do. We'll take and make two hives out of one. It's called a split. When they swarm, they'll actually take a group of bees and move out, and you have, once they land somewhere, because they usually fly out of the hive, they'll land somewhere locally, like close, like you'll be able to see it, and then you got like 4 to 6 hours to get them because they're getting ready to move on, and they could go miles.
now they taking the queen with them.
They take the old queen with them, and the new queen's already in the hive.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, and that's also something they're like, everybody will say you can't have more than one queen in a hive. I had a swarm this last year. I caught the queen, had her in a container, and found two more queens in the same swarm.
Really?
Yeah.
So you ended up with 3 queens.
Yeah. And I actually gave them to Jody, my friend.
Oh, that's cool, man.
And I can't remember how we handled that, but yeah, I gave her one of the swarms because I'm like, I don't want to deal with any more right now. So
yeah. Megan asked, have you covered the health benefits? Health benefits of honey. We ain't even talked about that yet. I mean, it's I still feel a lot of it's still unknown, to be honest.
We're at 50 minutes, so we got an hour and 10 minutes to talk about that. Might be a 2-part show, but yeah. Let's just say, put it this way: anything a bee makes has got a medicinal benefit to it.
And now, I know we talked about, being because of the hay fever and stuff like that, the pollen that they use helps build your immunity up.
Yeah.
But even a lot of the old books, you talk about putting honey in for sore throats, and they actually put some in their bitters and 100% moonshine.
Yeah.
And they put bitter plants in there, but they would also sweeten it up with honey inside that moonshine. So we know it's good for cold. We know it's good for your sinuses. You can read on the honey. I still don't think science knows everything that honey does to us. But you can get a hold of that and read it. I mean, it's
And I always try to tell people, if you pair honey and cinnamon or honey and garlic, you're probably going to be able to cover any ailment that you have.
And I take honey and turmeric, which makes it into like a super antibiotic.
Yeah, there you go. The same thing with garlic. Yeah.
Yeah, and then if you throw the garlic in there, man, we're talking superfoods right here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the thing is, it's all natural. We're not talking no chemical. You can eat as much as you can make you sick on it. But we always have honey right here on the counter. I mean, it's here every day. We use it every day. But so now if you take, with all these colds and stuff going around, you can make it into an antibiotic. Can you seal other foods with honey?
Can you what?
Seal or preserve any other foods with honey.
I know you can combine them to make different types of medicine. I don't know. I don't know if the food will go bad. I think it will go bad because the food,
honey's still got a lot of moisture in it.
Yeah, so, and the food still will go bad.
Yeah.
But if you start combining it with stuff, it's going to have a benefit.
Like your herbs, medicinal plants, stuff like that. You're going
to when we were at Ohio, I talked to J.W. Apothecary. He did the health class. I talked to him for a little bit afterward, and he told me something about what is that stuff called? Fire cider. And it's got ginger, onion, garlic, and horseradish in it, and you pour apple cider vinegar over it. And then he was like, when you drink this, put a lot of honey in it, because it's, that's a nasty sounding cocktail.
It would be kind of hot.
But you've got all those bits, and he even said add either jalapenos or cayenne pepper to it. And all of those combined, I don't need anything else.
No, and that's, I do a ton of ginger. The ginger for me, when I got on ginger the first time, I buy it as the root in the store.
Yep.
I slice it thin. I put it in my little bitty tea kettle. and I put water in there. Then I add a chunk of chaga. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
And the ginger, as soon as I started drinking ginger, the inflammation, I just felt better. I was just doing straight ginger. Then I added my chaga to it. I have to get the chaga up out of Canada. I have to order it. But that's my morning drink every morning. If you ever see me at an event, you'll see me drinking ginger tea in the morning because of the
Yeah. There you go.
anti-inflammatory. Uh, excuse me, TW says, but follow the fat the fat fly. Yeah, the one of the hive man. That'd be the one sitting on the fence post. Wait a minute, I'll be there in a minute.
Right.
Easy to follow. Uh, Paula says she wants more hives.
Yeah.
I like green turmeric and honey. That's you're talking about a good antibiotic.
Yeah.
Now,
There
I
you go.
want to ask, what do you do with the wax, dude? You know?
I usually melt it down, strain it, clean it out, like get all the dead bees, the legs, anything that has gotten in there, and then I try to sell it.
See, when I was a kid, our local honey bee was up in Jamestown. He always had a piece of the wax hive inside the honey.
Oh, so he sold honeycomb.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
man, I love chewing on that stuff.
Yeah.
I know it's crazy, but man, it was
No, I
really
mean, you're
good.
getting benefits from the wax too.
Man, that was yeah. I mean, that was like a piece of candy.
Yeah.
You know, when we were kids, man. And then what did you call that again?
The honeycomb.
The honeycomb.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
we just
yeah.
shoved it in the honey.
Yep.
You know,
Combed honey.
man,
Yeah.
that was good stuff, man.
I actually gave I think she's like 80 years old, her first piece of honeycomb, like last week.
Well,
And
tell
then
us the story, man. Come on.
she just came up, she went to my wife and she's like, "Hey, I've never had honeycomb. Can I try some?" And she's like the sweetest, most humble woman ever, you know. She's kind of like not real rich, you know. She's making it. She's like, I've never had honeycomb. Can I try it? And my wife's like, "Yeah, I'll bring you a piece." So she took her a piece, and a week went by, and we seen her again. It was like, what do you think? She goes, "It wasn't anything like what I had imagined. Like she had built this big story up, and
And
it wasn't what she thought it was." So, but you gotta be careful eating that stuff; it'll clog you up.
well, it clogged you up, but it's so good, man. That's
Yeah,
what I said. When we was can't, you know,
yeah,
we didn't eat the whole chunk in that jar. We was just eating pieces of it.
yeah,
I just remember chewing on it. It was really good, man.
yeah. I'm not a fan of it. I don't do it. So,
You don't do it?
nope.
Uh, Hammerhound said just restored the food in honey also was a part of their mummification promise.
Yeah.
Well, that's a big word for me. You know me and my big words. I seen too many M's in there, buddy. And they fire cider is code for applejack, which is liquor made from hard cider around here. Different terminology. But yeah, I've had a lot of applejack growing up. Is honey used in tinctures? In your tinctures? Well, we kind of just talked about that a little bit.
Yeah, you can use the propolis.
What is that?
It is, how can I describe it? So you have their wax, which is their building material to make their comb. Well, if they seal their box up so no light can get in or anything can get in, that's what they use. They get it from like the sap from trees.
Huh.
So yeah, it's another building material they make.
It's just another different.
And it is sticky. It's stickier than honey.
Really?
Yeah, and it will turn your gloves black and all that stuff. So yeah.
Do you like it or don't use it or?
I haven't tried to save it up, but I know you can freeze it, powder it, put it in medical grade alcohol or whatever it is, and make a tincture out of it.
Wow, there you go.
Put it on your skin. So
yeah, Hammerhouse said applejack is made by freezing the water out and fermenting the juice. It's concentrated the flavor. That's cool. Pam said, "Why is it important to have honey from your local area?"
Because of the pollen that they get is probably what kind of allergic reaction you're having, your allergies and hay fever and all that. So they're getting the same area. Now, see, Dan, my honey might work for you because we kind of live in the same climate area.
Yeah.
But yeah, and local honey is considered 50 miles.
And I'm not sure how far away from it. We were more far than 50
Yeah,
miles.
but I'm just saying it with our
our region's about the same,
Yeah.
same temperatures and everything. So
Yeah, but I always tell people support your local beekeeper.
yeah, and that's what I'm talking about. I mean, I always heard that. A lot of people with hay fever and all that stuff. You
Yep.
see them, their eyes swell up. I tell them all the time. I mean, the guys I work with, we were mowing grass for 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
Their eyes would be swelled shut. And number one, I would tell them, I said, find out what you're allergic to,
Yep.
and then eat it.
Yep.
Pick them weeds and shove them in your mouth, chew on them, and then do all your local honey, because that pollen's what you're allergic to, and you build an immune system up.
Yep. And that's what the bees do the hard part for you. And then, so I have one of my ladies that buys honey from me. She's bought 11 pounds this year alone.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, that's a lot.
Well, her husband got into it, so now she has her own stash.
Yeah, you ain't kidding, man. Yeah, it got expensive, man. It's
Yeah.
cheap by the bees, man.
Yep.
It's I think as long as you have the ability to raise bees, you always have something to offer up. And you will. It's all. Man, we talked about that a minute ago. It's a barter system.
Yeah.
That honey's not cheap, guys.
No.
You know what I'm saying? So it can be used as barter system. This is Jason M. Thomas. Welcome to the show, Senior. My service is slow, but I am from White Mountain Honey Farm. There you go.
There we go.
We got a professional on here, man.
He get on here and tell me everything I said was wrong.
Yeah. But remember, we're all learning together, guys. I mean, I love having the pros on here, and the experts, but you're still learning, correct?
Yeah.
I mean, how long have you been doing it, roughly?
Oh, man. 8 years, maybe.
Okay. I've been trapping for 45 years.
Right.
And I still try to learn something every day.
Yeah.
If you look at my YouTube channel and you look at everybody I subscribe to a lot of trappers because I'm looking at what's new all the time.
Right.
We have to. That's what keeps us growing.
Yeah.
It will keep your beehive healthy, if there's new techniques and stuff like that. So I'm about sharing it. You know that.
Yeah.
It's all about sharing the knowledge.
Well, like I said, when we first started, you ask 5 beekeepers questions, you're going to get 6 different answers.
Yeah.
It's like I went to a bee class one time, and they were trying to get rid of a laying worker. And they said, well, you find the frame that you think she's on, and you go like 30 yards away from the hive, and you shake her off, and then you go put that back in there. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense to me.
Won't she come right back?
That's what I was thinking. But everybody there sweared by that technique. I didn't do that. I just went to another hive that had open brood, made sure the queen wasn't on there, shook it off, stuck it back in that hive. So the pheromones from that open brood told that hive, hey, we've got a queen now. They made a queen cell out of one of those eggs, and then I had a queen back in that hive.
Huh.
So there's 2 techniques to solve the same problem.
Yeah. And that's got to be a little bit local, because the guys down south in the heat and stuff, wouldn't that be, to me, it would be, everybody's a little bit different.
Yeah.
We're talking Australia tonight,
Yeah.
and it's totally different what he's doing.
Yeah, he's got my brain boggled. I want to do some research on
Yeah.
Australian bees.
I mean, but, because of, he's on a smaller scale on his boxes and stuff, but that's his region.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And we can all live off each other, man.
Yep.
It said, Pam asked, how do you know how much to take? We just discussed that. Is what's your average percentage of how much honey you want to take out? Is it 60%, 70%?
Is she saying how much do I take from the hive, or how much do you take for the medicinal value?
I don't know. I was assuming that.
Well, if it's taking honey from the hive, I just need to make sure that I leave 50 pounds, and I usually will say 2 pounds of honey per frame. So I try to leave one whole box of honey and then take what I can out of the other, depending on if it's lean or not.
Yeah.
And then the medical aspect of it, 1 to 2 tablespoons a day.
I mean, it's not going to hurt you. It's very hard to OD on honey. I mean, you want to get a heck of a sugar buzz on it.
Yeah.
But
passed out in a sugar coma on the floor.
Yeah, you're good to upset stomach bad by eating too much.
Right.
But yeah, I don't think 2 tablespoons is not.
No, that's not a lot, but it'll work.
It's a medical try. Okay, she said medicinal. Yeah, medical. Yeah, I mean, I don't think. I usually just hold it over the coffee, coat the bottom, then I pour my coffee on top of it. To be honest with you.
Yeah, I do a tablespoon, like a big heaping tablespoon in my coffee.
Yeah, you know, my ginger tea, I do that in the morning. I just coat the bottom of the cup and then pour the hot
Yeah.
on top of it. You know, it's Jody said that's why Blue's my mentor. That's why, man. But I love the learning process on all
Yeah.
of it. I don't think I'll get into the bees. I've got so much on my plate as
Right.
it goes now.
Yeah.
But at least I knowed you. Let's just say if it went south, you
Yeah.
know, at least I know my local beekeeper, you know,
Yeah.
that I can supply that.
Yeah. You need to get to know them. So,
You know, so, and that's why I said, I mean, I see, and this is the same topic, but it's kind of off topic. When you see the original people, we had one or two blacksmiths. That was it.
yep.
That was a trade, specialty tools, trying to buy an anvil back in the day. You know what I'm saying? So we relied on the blacksmith. We had a leather guy. You know what I'm saying? He did all the leather. We had the beekeepers. We had the people grow the gardens. You know, it's community. That's when you seen the barter system work really good.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, when our first pioneers come over here, you don't think they traded for stuff?
Oh, they had to.
You know, I mean, the money wasn't the point.
Yeah.
And that's why it's good to know your local beekeeper. Get online, find out who it is, go help him out. You know, buy some honey off him. Is it going to be expensive? I ain't gonna lie to you. You look at the cost of honey; it's pretty pricey.
Yeah. I sell my 1 pound for $10.
Yeah, but listen to the benefits behind it.
Yeah.
It's also another superfood that can be stored. You know, indefinitely, basically. You know, so it's a good backup plan. So you're paying for a lot what you get.
Yep. And you can use it as a band-aid if you need to. Depending on a
Band-Aid.
wound. Yeah.
If you watch the show The Equalizer, it's a big tactical show, and it's cool. He got a graze out of a bullet, and he
Yeah.
was on the show. He heated up hot honey. He was putting it over the wound.
Yeah. I've seen that. Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean that's TV. We got to take it for TV.
Yeah. I don't know if you want to heat it up. Just put it on the way it
I
is.
mean, I thought he'd go burn his leg, man. But
Right.
it is an antiseptic. It can work
Yeah.
for an antiseptic, and it will seal a wound. You know,
Yeah.
so it's you know, there's a lot of stuff that we can't even cover what the bees or how valuable our bees was. You know,
Yeah.
and that's what we need to stay with. Is that's why I said, you know, if it gets bad, I get a lot of phone calls and texts because people were worrying what's going on in the situation. You know, I was talking to my daughter today, and she said, "Dad, you know, she said, I don't know if I can still gut anything or not." And I said, "It'll come back to you, you know." But she also knows that I can put up a lot of food pretty quick.
Yeah.
And that food, what's that beaver meat worth to your honey?
Right.
You follow me?
Yeah.
Or deer meat or whatever.
Or my wax that, you know, use for waterproofing purposes, you know. Bushcrafters,
Yep.
we all use beeswax for something.
Well, look at the candles. What
Yeah.
about lighting, man?
Yep.
I mean, how much use can we get out of the beeswax?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I don't know everything, all the uses off the wax we could use. I'm just thinking candles, first thing coming to
Yeah,
my
because
mind.
that's what the colonial people used. They made candles. You had light.
And I forgot because I got beeswax right here, waterproofing. That's what they waterproofed all their stuff with.
Yep.
Was that, and they mixed that and not turpentine, but like mineral spirits with it, and they can thin it down and heat it up on their stuff. A lot of guys sell fixing wax. That's got
Yep.
beeswax in it.
Yeah, I make mine with beeswax and food grade mineral oil,
Yeah,
just so it's
So-
like pliable.
right. It keeps it pliable.
Yep.
Snow shield. You guys all seen that on your shoes, you know, up here because of waterproofing your shoes and your gear. That's got beeswax in it. You know, there's all kinds of stuff that uses beeswax, so it is a value.
Yeah.
And you, like you said, you sell it, and you
Yep.
sell it to who? I mean, don't have name names, but what
I
are
had
they?
I had a guy that bought a pound off of me because he wanted to make beard lotion.
Yeah.
And then,
And
yeah, the leather workers make their own stuff out of it, you know, to seal the leather.
And I know I've used it on old cast bullets.
Yeah.
When you reload cast bullets, I mix it
Yep.
with paraffin wax.
Yeah.
Paraffin wax is very hard, and it's too hard. It crumbles when you mess with it. So you can add a little beeswax to it.
Yeah, so it'll go down the bore of the rifle better.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I know what you're talking
so we could go on and on about the wax
Yeah,
involved in that. So now we've covered the hive, the money making, the wax, you know, the upfront cost. But you also enjoy it when you got a product sitting on your table.
Oh yeah.
I did this. You know what I'm saying? That's you gotta like what you do, man, or you wouldn't do it. You know, I don't
Yeah.
need another hobby. I guarantee you that.
Right. And just the medicinal principles alone, it's priceless.
And that's it because the nutritional value when you pick up that jar of honey,
Yeah.
the bottle of honey, and you look at it, you go, man, $10 for that bottle.
Yeah.
You got to look at the medicinal reasons behind it, man. I mean, there's a good saying that my wife taught me is, when she's buying organic food, and because she's got gluten allergy, we really watch her food and stuff. And she heard a good quote, and it says, well, when you look at the price of organic food and what you put in your body, yeah, it's higher, but which is cheaper now or laying in the hospital, with some
That. Yeah.
bad stuff. So,
Yep.
you see what I'm getting at?
Yeah. That's. Yeah.
You're paying the price here at the baseline. It's not
Right.
cheaper than, having some weird disease. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
And even like, let's say you buy 10 pounds of honey. Somebody buys 10 pounds of honey. For me, that's $100. But they store it up. It'll last forever, and you can use it as a barter item. You can use it as medical. You can use it as stuff like that. Something else is you can make alcohol out of it.
Well, yeah, honey wine. I've heard of honey wine.
Yeah, mead, honey mead. Yeah, and then what do? You trade that because people, if it comes to it, people want their vices. I mean, look at the moonshiners.
Well,
Most people didn't make moonshine because they wanted to get drunk. They made moonshine because they were trying to supplement income.
supplement income, medicinal reasons. Moonshine is, I've got a quart sitting right here. They used to give that to kids. We used to call, like I said, they put bitters in there. They could put honey in there, but they would give them kids to deworm kids. If honey, straight moonshine will deworm you, man. Anything in your gut, it'll actually kill a lot of stuff. Moonshine is pure. It's not 100% pure because they do water it down.
Right.
It's called proofing and stuff. But when you get up into the high proofs, if you want to clean a wound or something, it's going to burn like crazy, but it's going to clean the wound.
Yep.
And now we can put honey on top of the wound once it's clean.
Yep. Clean it and seal it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, how far do we go down this rabbit hole on the honey and the wax and we don't have a long enough show for that tonight.
No.
That's why I wanted to bring you on because remember I told you we was talking bees. I said, just shut up, dude.
Yep. Same thing with the freeze drying. Don't talk when we do this.
Just shut up, man. We'll talk on the show. It's because it's interesting to me. And we go back to the barter thing. Even if I don't get into honey, like I said, know your local honey.
Yeah.
Know your local trapper. Know your local leather guy. Leather, if it's taken care of, will last 100 years easy.
Yep.
If it's taken care of. William took off. See, William. Should I pull the honey off the hive the first year? Megan asked that.
No. You want to let them build up their strength and numbers and it's called overwintering. It's where you let your hive, you manage them, but you want them to be winterized over winter so they survive a winter and then you can start harvesting the honey.
So you let them get their house built before you start taking from them.
Yeah, I got 3 hives this year that I'm not touching. I won't touch them.
So you just let them, you got no maintenance on them, no nothing.
I mean, I've checked them out, but I'm not going to harvest honey from them. We'll let them do their things and get their roots set, feet planted. So,
you're going to let, it's like, when I'm planting a fruit tree, I really don't pick the first year fruit. I let that thing go through its cycle. You follow me?
Yep.
Like on my peach tree, I don't have it no more. It actually died. My apple tree died too. It's crazy. But I never picked the fruit off the first year. Just let it go through its cycle. Let that fruit hit the ground. Put the sugars back in the ground. And let it go from there. Jody said, "Yeah, I cannot tell you how much I enjoy these videos. Thanks for sharing." Oh, you're welcome, Jody. I mean, I love these shows because it's all about it's basically all about you guys. About sharing information. You guys bring a lot to my channel. A lot of questions. CJK, hey, Henry and Cody's here. Dan's at the work thing. That sucks to be Dan. He's got to work.
Is that Trapper Dan?
Yeah, that's Trapper Dan. And that's his wife on there and his little boy Henry.
Oh yeah, because Cody wanted a freeze dryer last week.
Yeah. It says, Mega says, you will pay more just for the over the counter allergy meds. You're right.
Yeah, that's why my friend gets the 100 pounds of honey a season, because
Yeah.
it's either that or
100
the
pounds of honey, man.
no, not 100 pounds, 10 pounds,
10 pounds.
$100. I'm thinking the money.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm thinking, come on, man. What's she doing with all that? Reselling it, man. Cody said, oh, we'll have a freeze dryer someday. I believe it. Me and my brother, he went down the rabbit hole in that dryer, buddy. You got him thinking, man.
I got a video coming out. He's gonna love it.
That's cool. And guys, like I said, this guy's got a YouTube channel, man. I forgot to mention that thing. If you're new to this channel, he's got his own YouTube channel. Go up there and see him. It's called Blue Outside, correct?
Yep.
I did say it right because I'm used to outdoors.
Yep.
But go out there and see him, guys. And I started watching his videos. I didn't have a lot of time this week, but I encourage you to that. And you're going to do more freeze drying and bees videos. Correct?
Yeah, I just released a kind of a hint video on how to collect your honey without having all the fancy gear.
And that's good to know. It's called Common Man Series. That's good to know because not all of us have got that kind of money to throw.
No.
And you can, especially after the second year, you're not going to do nothing the first year, but the second year, if you do make a little bit of money, you reinvest that money back into your hives.
Yeah, you got to buy jars anyway, so all that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't make money your first couple of years of beekeeping.
No, but it will pay off though.
Oh yeah, I mean you're going to get honey your second year, of course. So.
But like me, I would dump all the money that I sold either into new hives or more bees or more gear or better gear, something like that.
Something
that's what you got to do.
Yeah, and buy books because knowledge. And something else they have is build your own beekeeping. Yeah, it's got you can build almost everything out of, so if you got a wood shop and wood, you can start building your own hive.
So that'll save you some money down the road.
Yeah, I started off building a lot of my own boxes.
Really?
With just a table saw.
Huh.
Yep.
And you still got them boxes?
I still got them boxes.
They last pretty good?
Yeah, they're taking a beating, but most of it does. So.
Yeah. Well, it's out in the weather 24/7.
Yep. And it's just got a coat of paint on the outside. That's one pro tip I should give everybody. If you buy a box, don't buy it painted. Paint it yourself.
Just saves you money?
Yeah, you're going to pay an extra probably $20 a box to have it painted.
Should you paint them every year then?
No.
You don't have to paint them every year?
No, because, unless it's a dead hive, you can pull it off, but you don't want to paint it with the bees in it.
I'll be stuck everywhere. Well, I didn't know. I was just asking questions.
Yeah.
What kind of maintenance?
But just go get a cheap barn paint, whatever color. My friend Jody, she was running the 8 frames and she's giving them all to me, and they got flowers and bright colors painted on them. I'm like, but whatever.
Whatever, it's her thing.
They'll work, man. So
all the flowers in your backyard, you didn't paint on your hives?
No, my hives have all been white.
I'm just giving you a hard time because if I ever see them,
yeah.
But I mean, it's just interesting, that you're supplying food for your family.
Yep.
But you've got a passive income.
Yep.
Unless you get big, you're not going to get rich off of it for sure.
No.
But it does give you some kind of income to maintain the hives itself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So kind of interesting, man. Yeah, that's pretty interesting.
That's one hobby that pays for itself. I have not sunk money in it in probably 6 years. Other than buying jars, but the money comes from the honey from the previous year. So
yeah, that's really good, man. Because if it's maintaining its own self with the money you bring in, then it's a wash, and now you're not out nothing. You're not continually putting in every year. Yeah. And you can take this as big as you want to.
Yep. And then you get extra money and buy some extra toys and all kinds of stuff. So.
Well, I mean, we all need our toys. You know that.
Yeah.
Going, man.
How many bush pots do I need, though?
Is there a number on bush pots?
I don't know. Bush pots and knives.
We won't talk knives on this channel because I don't know how many knives I own, but it's
Right?
too many. I've got knives literally laying everywhere.
Yeah.
It's bad, but it's knives are knives, man. I mean, it's whatever you're into. I
Yep.
don't just collect bushcraft knives. It's
Oh no.
I've got professional skinning knives and professional meat cutting knives, and hopefully I can get a deer. I'll show some videos on that how I do put up the meat because I need to store the meat. But there you go. If I was lucky enough to get 2 or 3 deer, and then I turn around and say, hey man, hey Blue, I need some daggone honey, man.
Right.
But here's your roast, dude, or whatever. I mean, that all comes back around again.
Yep. It's a good thing to know people.
Well, and I'm not above taking stuff off the road. If you guys follow me on Facebook, my dog killed a little squirrel the other day, and I picked it up off the ground and skinned it out and pulled the hide and fleshed the hide and put it on the board. And I took a picture of that, and then I cleaned up the squirrel and put it in the freezer. So, I mean, to me, that's just a gift. That was a meal between me and my wife that the dog got.
There you go.
I mean, she killed it instantly. She broke 2 legs on it, and I mean, it was over with that fast. And I said,
Yeah.
I gotta get this done. Why let it go to waste?
Right.
I'm not above picking up roadkill. Trust me on that one. To me, that's my commodity. But I know we're carnivores because of our teeth, but I see guys on a 100% meat diet and stuff like that, and they lose a lot of weight on that stuff. But I'm a firm believer that I call it the circle of life, and that we eat when the berries are ripe. We eat meat when it's available. Does that make sense? I think we need a variety in our diet.
Oh yeah, I agree.
And can you share a link to the Blues channel? It's still kind of hard to get by or to get. What's the whole channel? Blue Outdoors.
It's just Blue Outside.
Blue Outside. See,
If you allow me, I'll put a link in the show notes.
Yeah, put it in there.
In the comments, I'll do that.
Yeah, we'll put it in the link in there if we can get to it, because it was a little tricky to get to. There's a lot of rap music in front of you.
I don't know what that's all about.
I don't know either. I don't go get it, man. Pam says I need at least one more knife. She's got worse addiction than I got, man. That's the only woman I know that's got as many knives as I do, or probably more. It's amazing. Pollen addiction in the winter months. Do you have to cover the hives to keep them warm?
You should. Sometimes you don't have to. But what I like to do is I'll get a moving blanket, because you can get those at Harbor Freight cheap, and a Harbor Freight tarp. And I'll just wrap the moving blanket around, and then wrap the tarp around it and tie it. You just got to make sure that you don't trap the moisture in, because if you're cold, moisture kills. Same thing goes for the beehive. And you kind of want to leave the entrance open too, so if they need to get out, because they don't go to the restroom the entire winter. Like, they hold it because they go outside to use the restroom. So
do they go into a full hibernation in the wintertime?
They don't sleep, I don't think. I think they just stay in a cluster. It's a giant ball with the queen in the middle. And if you help them, they can keep the inside of that hive 90 degrees all winter long.
Really?
Yep.
I kind of remember that the farmers that I knew, we would pile straw barrels around.
Yep, you can do that.
We would put them up there, and he said, especially in the really bad winters.
Yeah.
I growed up through the blizzard of '76 that went through here. I mean, we had 21 below. They were losing bees left and right.
Oh yeah, yeah.
They were losing cattle too, But I remember going out there with the older straw bales, come out of the old stuff.
Yeah.
And we would just pile it all around.
Pile around, yeah.
Whatever
you can do to help them. I've even bought plastic wrap and wrapped it around. But
really?
You just have to make sure you don't. It has to be able to breathe, so you don't trap the moisture in.
Yeah, so kind of leave the bottom entrance open.
Yeah, and then some of the top.
And a little bit of top, just some good holes in there. Huh? I didn't think about that. Because we're starting to see these winters getting cold again. Below zero again and stuff.
Yeah, we had negative 13 last year.
Yeah. So what do you think? The bees are good for? I mean, if we have another 21 below, I mean, you got work to do on your hives, correct?
Yeah. If I help them, I think that they'll be all right.
They would make it through.
Yeah.
That's kind of interesting because, but they would have to have help to get through that.
Yeah.
like the blizzard of '78. I mean, uh, the game, we lost game like crazy. I can remember rabbit hunting off there, and it was unheard of getting two rabbits. If two guys went out, you got one rabbit a day, you did good.
Wow.
That's how, it really hurt the rabbit
Yeah.
population, small game. I didn't think about the bees back then because I wouldn't mess with them.
Right.
But, yes, but they would need help from us on that kind of.
Oh yeah.
When it gets that cold. I mean, they survive in the wild though that way, but that's inside of a tree.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of hives in trees. That's where they're mainly at, a hole in the tree.
And then if the snow, if the snow packs around it, snow's a good insulator. We know that.
Yeah. So that's how they're getting by.
Yeah.
It's interesting, man. But anything to protect the hive, protect your investment.
Yeah. I might as well help them out as much as I can.
Well, absolutely, man.
And I need them more than they need me. So
you ain't kidding because you're making that. That was a good question, man. That was a really good question because I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
About protecting hives. I mean, I know I've seen documentaries on bears. They really, if you're in bear country and you got bees, these guys run electric fences around them, chains around them. I mean, it's pretty intense because of bears. Like you said, skunks is a predator on that. I believe minks would go after it. Mink would go after the honey inside the hive. Skunks are big. Skunks can't climb for nothing.
Right.
If you actually ever skin out a skunk, he looks just like a T-Rex. It's funny. He looks, his head shape, his little arms, his legs. You'd swear he's a T-Rex, man.
Huh.
5-pound T-Rex. It's kind of funny that the window wells around your basement windows. People put the metal things up, to help the water drain around the window. When I was doing a lot of, I'd get calls on that, go get skunks out. And because I understand the animal behavior, I would handle them wild skunks both my bare hands. Yeah, and pick them up out of the window wells and sit them on the ground and crawl away. Skunks have a very weird demeanor. And, when they're ready to fight, they're going to fight. But most of the time, they just are real calm. Believe it or not, they're very calm animals. I've had one chase me because I entered their area, wild one. I was bow hunting out in the middle of the bean field, and I threw my bow over the fence to get away from that thing. But he was a big old dude. He was mad that I was in there. But it's like animals don't. When an animal's ready to fight, when two men fight, we slap on each other, we yell at each other, we scream. Animals fight because of survival instinct. They're not there, they're not mad at you. They're just leaving you alone.
Yeah, they're like, I don't want to die.
Yeah, and he knows he's caught down that wheel well. So, but if you talk to him, it's funny to talk to him. They calm down like you calm down.
Huh.
You grab him by the back and neck, pick him up, and just lay there. And they'd smell him and walk away. I mean, my brother's on there. He was kneeling down, bow hunting in the fence row. And back then we were running two-way communication. And all I heard was some serious cuss words. And he looked down, and that skunk was popping his head right at his knee coming out of that hole. He thought it was a groundhog hole. And that skunk was coming out at night. And I said, just stand still, man. It'll be fine. And he smelled him like, you ain't supposed to be here. And he just
Yeah.
Huh. So skunks they're funny.
Yeah.
Just like you were talking to bees, you've got temper. You got to understand your bees a little bit on their temperament.
Yeah, just be calm and walk away as much as possible.
Yeah, don't take off running, swinging your arms. I tell everybody, swat at the bee. That's when you get stung.
Cover your face. Try to cover your face as much as possible. Just, be smart about it. But yeah.
Well, that's where they go after a bear. A bear, they don't do no good stinging it on the back. They want to go after his face. They know where your eyes are at and stuff like that. What did we say?
I made my own stink that night.
He said, I scared the devil. I was crawling out of that hole, man. He said, I didn't know what to do. I said, just stand still, man. Because you're not a threat to them.
Right.
I understand their behavior, but if you're not used to that, you see that white and you see that black figure coming out with two big long white back on him, you're like, oh, I'm in trouble, man.
Yeah, I had the same thing happen one time during had a swarm at the house, and we had our suits on and went out there, and the neighbors pulled up. They stopped, looked outside, and was like, we're leaving. Put it in reverse and backed out of the driveway. But they were fine. It was in the middle of a swarm. They're not aggressive in the middle of a swarm.
And I thought that was funny because when I had that swarm on my pine tree, it was probably wasn't real high in the pine tree.
No.
Come home
it was just a big cluster of bees, right?
Yeah, big ball.
They were just getting ready to move. They didn't,
And because, what I did, I knew to call that guy. I called him. He drives out here in his pickup truck, backs it underneath that thing, takes this box and just shakes it.
Yeah,
Boom.
thump.
And it just dropped down. And he's actually got bare hands. He's handling them,
Yeah,
pulling them off the tree and trying to get them in that box. It was, I stayed away because I didn't know about the swarm. I figured
right.
you touch that swarm, they're going to get really aggressive because they
Yeah,
have no protection.
yeah, you can actually walk up and pet it.
Now, why wouldn't they be aggressive like that?
They're focused on moving. They don't care about. Now you don't want to walk up and go whack,
no, I know that.
but you could walked up and like stuck your hand in it real gentle, like, and they would have been fine.
So don't panic if you walked underneath one. You see it,
Yeah,
oh man, it's right there. Just calmly, just get out of the
yeah.
way.
Just be like, I'm out of here. But yeah,
Yeah,
because
amazing.
the beekeeper that I was my principal, he would actually go in and dig into the swarm and find the queen and pull her out and take her with him, and the bees would follow.
Because the pheromones that she emits, I know they put them in this like little cage. I've seen this.
Yeah, queen cage is what it's called. Yeah,
And they put her in there, and then they chew her out of there eventually, correct? Or she chews out, or something like that.
they'll chew her out.
Okay.
She doesn't do anything but lay eggs. Like they feed her, they carry her poop off, they clean her, she just walks around, lays eggs.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. That's all she
Yeah,
does, man.
yeah,
Well, she ain't got time for nothing else. She's doing 2,000 eggs a day.
right. And they're like, here, eat this. Oh, take your poop and walk off with it. I mean,
Yeah.
the queen's court is what it's called. She's got like 8 bees that are around her all the time.
Huh. Dean said he just got here. He's late. Hey, Dean.
Hey, Dean,
Megan said, can honey be used for trapping bait? Well,
that's a question for you,
absolutely.
man.
I mean, everybody's going to eat honey, and guys, I'll tell you some tricks. When we're using bait I use bait for raccoon in the creeks. Okay, the problem is I have special traps that I built for that, but not a trap, a stand, because when it rains, your bait can dissolve and go away. So the bait that I mix up, I add glycerin to it. That's a preservative. Okay, but I can put honey in there because I want the stickiness with peanut butter. We all like honey and peanut butter mixed together, but I need the stickiness that makes the animal stay there. If it does get wet, it doesn't dissolve fast. The honey's a preservative. The peanut butter's not going to go bad naturally. You follow me? So when I was a kid, we used to actually drill a hole in the tree next, the tree hanging over the creek bank. I would drill a hole, old brace and bit. Remember the old brace and bit, big old bit? And I would drill a hole in there, and I would put my trap down and stake it inside the creek under the water. It needs to be an inch of water as long as the trap's on it. But what it does is the raccoon will come up and he'll smell that bait. But if it rains a lot, the bait won't wash out on it. So it's going to be active more inside that hole. And that gives you something to stick his hands in because their hands are very sensitive. And so he starts eating. Well, the more I can keep him there, the more he apt to walk around and stand in that trap. And then I got him in the morning. So I use honey, I use glycerin, I use peanut butter, anything that's sticky. But then I won't talk about my recipe. You're talking about sacred ground now. But I put my lure on there to bring them in and stuff like that. So yes, you're correct. We can use it as a trapping bait, especially in a pinch. I mean, who's not going to eat honey? If a raccoon would come up, all he sees is calorie intake.
Right.
And it's got a lot of sugars in it. Especially we're trapping in the fall. All the stuff's gone. Now he's on the scrounge. So they're going to smell that. I mean, honey smells. You can smell it. Anything that's going to run as attractive. People think we have to have special baits to trap with. You know what I'm saying? That we have to go and buy the bait, which is the myth because our old timers didn't use that stuff. So now we just kicked off another thing. Can honey be used as bait? Now you see what the properties of being sticky, being preservative, being an attractant. So honey, I just told you, pretty good bait. So you didn't even know about that. I got you.
I did. You got me there. That's cool though. Yeah.
So it's just makes you think, different ways of thinking. So if you have a jar of honey and you want to get a coon next to your chicken coop, because he's getting in your eggs and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I would use the eggs too, rotten
Right.
eggs. I use that too, to bring them in because he's used to eating them.
So
So
okay, I got a question about that. Would the coons go after my chickens, or would they rather go after the eggs?
they want the eggs. The chickens, the mink will kill them. I mean, a coon will kill a chicken, but it's pretty hard for them.
Right.
But they can get in there and kill him. They want the eggs.
Okay.
The eggs is like a perfect food, man.
Because we had something come in last year or the year before and wiped out all of our ducks,
Yeah, well,
and it
and
was biting them on the back of the neck.
that's probably a big mink. The mink numbers are way up right now because
Okay.
the fur market's not there. But mink, my first sign of mink is I've seen people really lock their cages down,
Yeah.
at night, and a mink can fit through a hole like you ain't never seen. But I've seen a lot of feet being bit off like chickens
Okay.
because the mink will lay underneath the cage. They'll put like chicken wire
Yeah.
for him to walk in, and he'll bite them through the cage. So you just watch your tracks, know what you're doing. But a mink is he's in the same family as a wolverine, dude. You gotta understand, they're a weasel family. They are killing machines.
Okay.
And mink are not associated with water. That blows everybody's mind because you always see them during the water.
Right.
I've seen them 5 miles from any water. They are killing machines, man. They are probably one of the best predator. We think a lot of predators, bears and stuff like that, but a
Right.
mink in that family is very hard to protect your chickens from minks because they can fit through anything and they dig. They can climb like you ain't ever seen.
Huh.
If you ever had a mink, you can twist him upside down alive and it don't hurt him at all.
Right.
I mean, when I was a kid, I raised ferrets. And the ferret is in the mink family.
Yeah.
They have a musk gland and everything like that, but they're carnivorous, man. Them things eat everything. Uh,
The
so
only thing, the only thing that was bugging is he was still out there when I went out there, because I'd go out there and see the duck, and go back like 10, 15 minutes later, and that duck was moved.
yeah.
He was hiding out there while I was out there. It's like,
Well, and he'd seen you coming, and what
yeah.
I've done is I've set a lot of traps around there for him. He couldn't have got to that duck without getting
Yeah.
hit.
Huh.
And I get calls on that. I get calls on that. My neighbor, she had a bunch of baby mink under her swimming pool, and loved them. She said, "I'll come down and get them." I said, "No, I'll be fine." She had chickens too.
Not anymore.
It's a disaster, man. So it's you know what I'm saying. It's funny. Megan said that's why they call her the queen. Dean said I got bum rushed by a mink while kayaking. They're a very aggressive animal. I'm not afraid of them in the wild. They're usually gone, man. They see me coming.
Right. Yeah.
They're actually harder to trap because they're very smart. I've got my techniques to trap them. They're not bad to skin out. You can't hardly eat one. I ate one and it's like a skunk. They've got that musk gland in them, and they just taste like skunk. They just taste like musk. I mean, I've tried to, boil it out of them first, called parboiling it, then fry them up. No way, man. I just use them for bait now. I hate to tell you that, but you can. That's another subject. That's a whole
Yeah.
bait is a whole different subject. But you get me talking trapping, we'll be here all night. But it's another thing we need to utilize because you have to protect that hive.
Yeah.
I know you just said the bees don't need us,
Right.
but they kind of do to make sure that hive, is staying warm. We can protect that hive to help them thrive.
Yeah.
Any helping hand out in the wild, that in a survival situation,
Yep.
any helping hand goes a long way, and that's what you're doing, man. That's what I want to. I just love it all goes hand in hand.
Oh yeah. It's a one giant, like you said, the circle of life.
It is. And I kind of took that from, if you ever seen all the ranches and the farms around here, they were always named the Circle T Ranch or the Circle whatever ranch. And I believe it's because when I was growing up and we were raising horses and stuff, we used the manure to put on the garden. The garden
Right.
fed us, but it also helped feed, the chickens because of corn. It supplemented the hogs. You know what I'm saying? And then we put the manure on the garden fed us, plus fed the hogs. Then we slaughtered the hogs, which fed us. It's just a circle, man. It's the life circle, and I think that circle's been broken. to be honest with you, because all the fast food and we're eating too much.
Yeah.
And we're not growing our own food, which is not sprayed heavily with pesticides. And apples, we all know apples. It's probably they put wax on the apples and a lot of pesticides and gases to get them over here. I believe this is just me ranting on, but I believe we ate apples when they come in the season.
Right.
Fall was the harvest season. We gorged our belly with the fruits and the stuff and the vegetables, and then we canned the rest of it. You know what I'm saying? To get through the lean times.
Yeah.
The lean times in Ohio, man, you go from January to March in Ohio.
Right.
You go out in the woods, there ain't nothing to eat, dude. Unless you staked out where your root tubulars are, your root vegetables in the wild, you'll never find them.
Right.
How do you find a burdock leaf, in February?
Right.
3 inches of snow on the ground. So you understand what I'm saying? So we had to supplement. And honey would have been one of the big supplements, correct?
Yeah.
And it's also be a treat for kids and stuff.
Oh yeah. I think that's it. It's a recipe book. So it's a recipe book. There's candy in there, baking, all that stuff. So, and it's a sugar supplement. You can use it instead of sugar when you're baking. So again, boils down to a commodity.
So right there, now you got a whole new recipe book on it.
Yeah.
Because we always know honey glazed ham. That's the first one comes to my mind.
Right. Yeah.
We're using that for ham, which we took off the hog.
Yeah. See?
There's your circle again.
Yeah.
That's just my belief. I didn't mean to rant on, but that's kind of where I wanted to go.
Yeah,
the bees would have to be part of that circle.
Yeah. If you get any book, I've got several books on homesteading because I'm trying to be, take my little spot of land and produce as much useful stuff to me as possible. Every homesteading book has a section on beekeeping.
So you're saying our pioneers knew what to do with these bees.
Yeah, they knew what they were doing.
Native Americans knew what they were doing with bees. They knew how to harvest that.
Yeah, you got to have, that's got to be part of your, your survival plan.
And wouldn't that be cool? I mean, I told you how I used to track them as a kid. I was fascinated with the bees. You like you said, you heat that sugar up on the stove. Well, you take they'll fold your coffee lid, the plastic lid.
Yeah.
I'd put that sugar water on there and just sit there on the picnic table. Bees will eventually come there. And they'll gorge yourself, and you can watch them fly. You think, no way, I can't catch it. Yeah, they're like, and they'll actually lead you right back to the house. I read a story when I was a kid. That's how Native Americans found the beehives.
Huh.
So something to think about.
I'll have to look into that one.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Well, if you don't have the money, can you take a natural hive out legally? I don't know. You're in Indiana, so I don't know.
I don't know about that. I've never heard anything.
Can we take a wild hive?
I think you'd have to get permission off the landowner. I do know if like my hive swarms and somebody else takes it, they've stolen livestock off of me.
Say that again now.
Okay. I don't know about taking it in a wild hive. I don't know. But I do know, like if my hive swarms and it flies off, those bees belong to me. That's because they're considered livestock.
Wow.
So if somebody else comes along and gets them, they stole my hive. Because one of the guys that used to be Indiana's largest supplier of bee keeping equipment, they've shut down. I don't know why. I think he got sick and passed away. But people used to wait outside of his area and wait for swarms to go off and trace them down, and that was a felony.
Huh.
Yeah.
And that's what we'd have to check into. That'd be a good thing to check.
We'll look into that.
To see if I'm legally to pull a wild hive out to my hive.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Good question, but we'll have to follow that up.
Huh. I'll have to look into that.
Anything goes, says honey cake is hardcore dessert. I guess it is. And really, Blue, I hate having you on this show because this is 2 shows and I'm usually starving to death by the end of it. I'm getting to hate you, man. Yeah, because that sounds good, dude. You know, I'm just bugging you, brother.
Yeah,
But it's you sit there and
honey,
go ahead, man.
honey on the asparagus too.
I've never had that. I
Take
love it.
take balsamic vinegar and honey, mix it together, reduce it, and then pour it on asparagus. Oh yeah,
Oh man. Pam says Vern puts honey in his pizza dough. Huh? That'd be a sweetener in there.
yeah.
I never tried that either, man. Hammerhound, I want to see you brand the bee and identify it. You should see these little branders he got for the legs.
Right. Might have bracelets.
Yeah, bracelets. But I mean, that's a good question. I didn't know that about the livestock. I mean, it's like a cow getting out.
Yeah.
It's yours.
Yeah, it's
You know,
considered a livestock.
that's amazing. And like you said, I thought I used a lot of honey, but man, I'm looking at these recipes, and because I try to date no granulated sugar at all,
Yeah.
and it's hard to do because they put it in everything.
If you look online, you can find a table where you can, instead of using sugar, it tells you how much honey to use.
Yeah, yeah. That way, if you're baking with pies or whatever, you can
Yep.
supplement the honey instead of sugar. Because man, some of the stuff, like a good apple pie takes a ton of sugar to make it.
Yeah. And
And
it actually takes less honey if you use honey.
really,
Yeah, because from what I can remember, 1 cup of sugar equals 3/4 a cup of sugar or honey.
huh?
1 cup of sugar, 3/4 cups of honey is your
Amazing.
yeah. So
But it'll melt down. You're heating it up.
yeah, that's a lot of honey though.
Yeah, man, that's a lot of honey. But there's a lot of sugar in pies, man. That's why.
Oh yeah. Yep.
I mean, yeah, I told you before, rhubarb pie. I mean, me and my dad could be on the floor fighting over rhubarb pie. I mean, that is my kryptonite, I guess I want to say. But there's a good question. Megan said, "Can you stack it too many boxes high?"
It's all about what you're willing to lift and pull off. So yeah, you can make your hive too high. I try not to go more than 4 or 5 boxes because I don't
You got to pick that heavy thing off the top.
Yeah.
And work your way down there.
yeah, and yeah, that can yeah.
So you said you had your brood hive. That's
Your brood box is the bottom ones.
is the bottom one.
Yep.
Then the next one is
I usually have 2 deeps for the brood, which is the bigger boxes, and then I throw mediums, 3 mediums for honey.
3. So they're 3 boxes high now.
It's 5, 5 total.
5 total. That's what I was
Yeah.
trying to
Yep.
break it down.
Yeah.
Huh.
And that's on hives that are like 2 years old too.
Well, anything goes. Said which would typically be more sweet, honey or maple syrup?
I don't know if I never had pure maple syrup.
Oh man, you're missing out. Dude. I got a sugar shack around the corner from me. We got a lot of sugar trees around here, man.
Yeah.
So maple syrup's pretty heavy around here. We call them sugar shacks. That's what they are.
Yeah.
Where they cook it down. And if I've had some bad stuff, like you said, you can have some stuff that don't taste good.
Right.
But man, like the woods around here, that stuff produces it's like honey. I mean, it's consistency of honey. It's a little thinner than that.
Right.
The sweetness is wow, man.
Mm.
And I like to boil it and put it on my pancakes. I don't like it cool. I want it hot. Let it soak in my pancakes. I mean, it makes your pancakes salty, which I like.
Right.
That's how
I guess it would be depends on where the honey's from and where the syrup's from. Wouldn't you agree?
And that's 2 different flavors too.
Yeah.
That's 2 different flavors. Pam said it activates the yeast yeast versus sugar. Huh. That the honey helps to activate the yeast.
Yeah, that's probably why they make alcohol out of it.
Well, yeah, I knew they did that. Because you need sugar to make the alcohol.
Right. Well, it's like they make it out of corn, right?
Well, yeah. Moonshine can be made out of just about any fruit, I guess I want to say.
Yeah.
I've seen it made out of apples and grapes and everything else. But the key to moonshine is the fermentation. It's
right.
If you guys watch YouTube, and I love Popcorn Sutton, but he's very vulgar. You know what I'm saying? He cusses a lot. But he got famous about that.
Yeah.
But everybody talks about the run, the equipment. It's actually about the mash. The mash is where all the flavor is going to be, concentrate on alcohol. the way I was taught from the old timers is they used burlap bags, and they would take all their sweet corn out of the field, and they would let it dry for that year. You know, they let it dry on the stalk. Then they would take that and bag it up in a tight burlap bag. And then they would take that in the springtime and drop that bag in the creek, about half deep. And you come back in it in a couple of weeks, and all that corn resprouted coming out of that bag. Then they would flip the bag, okay, and let it go another 2 weeks. All that fermentation was happening. Then they would cook it. You don't see that on YouTube.
No.
You don't see, that's the old fashioned. That's how you get the the good stuff. Trust me.
Right.
It makes a difference on the mash, and you know the mash is the sugars we're talking about.
Right. That's how mead's made. You have to have the yeast, and then it's fed off the sugar of the honey.
Right. And like Dean said, if you want to learn about distilling, I can help.
Okay. There's another show.
Yeah, there's another show, and why why the alcohol? We're talking it's medicinal again, man. We talk about shine and making apple pie and getting drunk, and it's not all about that, guys. It's about we're trying to learn. Like I said, it's wound therapy. You get a good cut in your mouth, man. Rinse it out with moonshine. It's going to burn like gold, but it's going to take everything out of your mouth.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe me and my wife was talking again. Turpentine. You've heard turpentine, right?
Yeah.
Pine trees. The sap out of the fat wood. They used to feed kids that. I've had turpentine when I was little. Huh. Yeah, you take a spoonful, it kill all the worms in it. Yeah, that was the turpentine we get in the stores made the same way. Can you imagine giving a kid today a spoonful of turpentine? I mean, they put you in jail for it.
Right.
But I've heard them making bitters out of the turpentine. Bitters is a combination of the garlic and the onions and stuff in moonshine, set in the windowsill to cook all them down, to give you, some medicine, and they use turpentine in there too. It's kind of crazy, man, but our old timers, they lived a long time. Everybody said they didn't live as long as us. I start reading some books. They were still in the 80s,
Yeah.
Let me see. Dean says, medicinal, fire starter, trade goods, recreational. He just nailed it. I mean, anything goes. My apologies. I faded what Blue said. Never had New Hampshire maple syrup. Well, you can talk to him later. Anything goes. And send him a ball out. Show him what he's missing, man.
That's not expensive around here.
I mean, I know Canadian maple syrup, real true Canadian maple syrup, tastes different than ours.
Huh.
It's just a little different flavor. It's killer good. I'm not saying it's bad, but it's just a little different. Megan Dixon, she's my timekeeper. Got 9 minutes left, man. Didn't I tell you these shows go fast, man? And guys way out there, man, thanks Blue again, man, for showing up for the second time. I mean, you guys made him last time, but tell him, man, he took the time out of his day to do this. And I was running very behind. I actually thought it was Wednesday. I started screaming. That's my text so late. To be fair, I wouldn't use liquor
on a bird's nest.
On a bird's nest, but you damn can. Alcohol will draw it out. There you go. If you're in a bad survival situation, just drink the alcohol and give up. Used to feed kids raw tobacco to kill worms, but alcohol is needed to make tinctures for medicine. Yeah. Eli, you're late, buddy. Ella, sorry. But yeah, I mean, you're late because we're about done here. But
it's almost over. You're gonna have to watch it again.
Yeah, you can still watch this, guys. I actually got some messages on this. Some of the guys are on different time zones, and guys, you can always go to my YouTube channel and have them outdoors. I'm trying to. I'm gonna put that welcome back up there, but we talk about everything here. I never thought I'd be talking about bees on my channel. Be honest with you, I never even get a thought until I run into Blue up there at Central Ohio, and me and him. Well, I think he met my brother before he met me. And my brother says, "You got to talk to this guy, man. This guy knows his stuff about the freeze dryers," which I said it correctly.
There you go. Look at you.
It's not dehydrator, it's freeze dryer.
Nope.
And so, I mean, look at his channel, guys. He's starting. He's got a pretty good channel going on, but he's doing to do more on the bees and the freeze drying stuff. So
Pretty much anything to do with survival and self-reliance, I want to do it. So
yeah, we didn't even talk about what you do on that side. You do flint and steel videos,
oh
or
yeah,
he does regular bushcraft videos too.
yep. I made my own steel. Out of a file. I got a forge, blacksmithed it. Yeah,
And that's another hobby you got, blacksmithing.
yep.
And so I mean, you guys got to look at his channel, man. I started watching it, and like I said, this week was a bad week. I wanted to watch more of your videos because my brother was calling me. And that's the fact. Well, man, you got to watch this video. I said, dude, I ain't got time. You got to watch this video. So yeah, it was a good time, man.
My wife calls me a jack of all trades, so I'm like, yeah, okay.
Well, that's what my wife says. I've had way too many hobbies, and I still got a lot of pokers in the fire right now. I've got to get ready for a show. The 5th, 6th, and 7th of February. It's coming up fast. I'll be down in Georgia at the Central Hall. Not Central Hall. Here we go. At Georgia Bushcraft down there. I've been down there about 3 or 4 years ago. Good time. So I don't know. I don't think I'll have a show that Thursday, and so it's about a week away. I got to get ready for it. But that's fine. And Blue, if you don't care, we're gonna have more of these, man.
Yeah, let's do it.
Discussions, man. Because I don't think we covered everything on the bees, did we?
We didn't even cover all the stuff on the freeze drying, so we got to be continued on both of them.
The only thing I'm going to make it mandatory. If we start talking freeze dryer, you're going to have to send me some food where I can eat it in front of you while we're talking.
Okay.
You killed me, dude. I mean, you made everybody here starve to death. I know everybody left this show was going to pick it out, dude.
Oh yeah.
And we and you talked an hour after the show.
Yeah.
Half after that show.
And my daughter got her ice cream sandwich, and started eating it.
Yeah, started eating in front of me. So tell her thanks for that, man. You can't do that in front of a fat man. You know that, man. Okay, guys. Hey, as I talk, we got 4 minutes left. As I talk, man, guys, only thing I ask on this channel, do one thing for me, and that's give me 5 minutes before we go to bed. And that's pray for first responders. People on the front line. I say it every week. We all hate them stinking cops get behind us when they got the blue lights on, but they're also the first one there, man. Same with our fire department, people at the pharmacy, our doctors. Everybody's got dealing with this stuff, man. It doesn't take 5 minutes to say a prayer for them, to protect them, give them strength and protect them. I just like saying at the end of this, because it's at this time and everything's going on out there, we all need the extra help. I guess that's the easy way to say it. Like I said, I want to thank Blue out here on this channel today, and his wife and his kids for letting him do this. He's actually he's sitting at her place of business.
Yeah, because the internet's better here.
Yeah, better internet over there. So he has Thomas. Takes time to set all this stuff up, guys. So like I said, everybody said thanks, man. For thanks to Blue for having come on there, and really enjoyed it. Like I said, I have checked my dates. See if I have a show next weekend. I'll try to post a lot sooner. I was late this week, man. I told you I could get on Monday, and it just everything went south, man. So
there you go.
Hammerhouse said, "I hope you have a safe and boring day." That's good when it's boring, man. Everything's good. So, guys, we're gonna call it here, man. I know we got a couple minutes late, but we're gonna go ahead and call it. Guys, I want to say thanks to everybody watching the show, man. We had a good time tonight. So we're going to call it now. I'll get off here, and we'll go from there. Guys, see you next time. Bye.